This Pitch Breakfast video is brought to you by Spangler and Agins, attorneys for Charlotte's startup community.
All right, so good morning. My name is Ken Paulus. I'm the founder of React Innovations. To my left here is my partner Fred Fink, who serves as our acting president within the company. Combined, we've got about 50 years experience in healthcare commercialization and driving successful exits for our investors. So React Innovations has a US exclusive license for a technology called XMI. Basically, it's a high-powered bioelectric magnet that can treat muscles, nerves, and increase blood flow non-invasively. The unique aspect of our technology also is that it requires no skin contact and goes about 4 inches deep into the body cavity. So traditional modalities such as e-stim, the pads that you see on your skin, or low-level light therapy or therapeutic ultrasound, all require skin contact. And e-stim and laser, which are very popular modalities, only go about 3 millimeters into the skin. So we go about 4 inches deep into the body, so you can see the difference there. We have 4 main markets that we address: athletic rehabilitation, physical therapy. We also work with seniors in building strength in their core to prevent falls. We also work with incontinence and pain management. So combined in the US, those 4 markets are about $160 billion in terms of market. We've just built a team. We've got about $350,000 committed to a $750,000 round. We make money in 3 ways. We sell our equipment into the athletic market, so we've got partnerships and relationships with the NFL and NCAA. We lease our equipment to practitioners like OBGYNs, chiropractors, and other folks that would use it as a modality with their patients to earn revenue. And then we own and operate our own centers and provide services to the public such as pain management, muscle rejuvenation, etc. So with that, any questions? I've brought the unit with me, and Juan has graciously offered to be a guinea pig, and I can do a demonstration for you here on the show.
Absolutely.
Let's stimulate Juan.
All right, great. Come on up, Juan. You're the next contestant on React is Right. Okay. So this may be a little tricky to do one-handed, but I'll see what I can do. So we fire it up.
So I have a question now. Did Spangler and Agins already certify that if something happens to Juan, it's not?
Well, the good news is I have several, the technology is FDA cleared. We have several 510K issuances for the technology to be used. It's considered a class 2 muscle stimulator. So over the millions and millions of testimonials and trials that we've done, no one's died yet, Juan, but there's always a first. So.
But you don't have a pacemaker.
That's right. So yeah, so there's three counterindications. The first question I have to ask you is, are you pregnant?
No.
Okay, that's checkbox. He's not pregnant. Do you have a pacemaker?
No.
Okay. Do you have any other heart AFib issues or anything like that? No. Okay, we're good to go. All right, good deal. Okay, so.
Would you like some?
So the technology, in this particular unit, we have a range that can go from 1 hertz all the way to 50 hertz. And so I'm just turning this up now, and then we're gonna put this on Juan's shoulder. So can you hold this for me, Fred? I'm just gonna speak loudly so I can adjust this, but we'll see. You feel that? So what do you feel?
So it's, I guess it's making the muscles move.
Contract, right?
Yeah.
So effectively, what we can provide with our technology, I can provide the equivalent of a deep tissue massage for your entire back in about 10-15 minutes. So that has huge implications in terms of strengthening the muscles, improving blood flow, managing pain. So for example, in the NFL, we've got a great partnership with Ryan Vermillion here with the Carolina Panthers. They were totally blown away by the technology, and from a workflow perspective for sports, they've got 52 athletes that end a game on Sunday, right? They've got 4 trainers. If you know anybody that's in the massage industry, to provide a deep tissue massage for 52 athletes that are all primed and muscled up, you would literally need probably 25 professional massage therapists, and you'd have to spend 90 minutes on each of them. With our technology, we have three modalities. We've got a chair that we use for incontinence, so it's primarily focused on women. They literally sit there with their clothes on and read a magazine for 20 minutes, and after 24 sessions, their incontinence in 85% of our cases is cured. With elderly, we're going to be performing a study with Dr. Binit Shah here in town. Dr. Shah is a leading anesthesiologist and runs the Carolinas Pain Center. We're going to be doing a strength training exercise with elderly seniors to build strength in their core to prevent falls. Falls costs Medicare $34 billion a year. We've got relationships with some of the top senior living facilities around the country, and they're pretty keen on this technology as well to prevent falls, deal with incontinence. You've got issues such as neuropathy. Does anybody know what neuropathy is? It's the tingling that people get in their legs, often from complications from diabetes. Multi-billion-dollar industry that's primarily used to treat is Lyrica, which is a pharmaceutical that has awful side effects for folks. And we think given a lot of the opioid situations that are going on here, being able to treat pain non-invasively is a big deal.
So Ken, you covered, first of all, from the pitch, you did a great job. I think you covered most of the aspects.
We'll shut this down for Juan here, so let him get back.
I like to watch it.
You got the other shoulder? Yeah. By the way, I'll be sticking around after if anybody wants to get a demo on it. I'm happy to stick around and provide any issue with your back shoulder.
You're going to look huge on one side now. So I think you did a good pitch. You've done this before. You cover most of the topics. What about competition?
Sure. So the question is competition. So yeah, there's a lot of competition out there in terms of other modalities that we compete against. I mentioned some of them, such as e-stim, laser, diathermy, which is like a heat lamp, and then therapeutic ultrasound. This technology blows all that away. So we have a patented technology. We've got FDA clearances, as I mentioned before, and it's been primarily the founder of the technology is a guy named Dr. Michael Jordan. You can believe that, but he's a German urologist, and I met Dr. Jordan about 5 years ago. And the challenge that he had is running a medical practice as a urologist and trying to moonlight as a global entrepreneur, developing a new technology that is trying to penetrate the market. And quite frankly, he's done a good job in terms of getting it out there for the use of incontinence, but he really hasn't built up the clinicals related to athletic rehabilitation pain, as well as muscle strengthening. We have clearances on that in the FDA, meaning that it's been tested and they say you're free to do it, but he hasn't built up the clinical profiles to build that out. So for now, it's a cash business. So for example, we're going to open up a center that we call Magna Center. So our first foray into this, we're going to open up an operation here in Charlotte. We're targeting the south end of town. We're going to have 4 tables in our center. We're partnering with PTs, chiropractors, physical therapists, other trainers, and we're also going to market to the public and bring people in and do treatments with them at our center. 20-minute sessions, $75 a piece, and our model with Magna Centers is really people pay a membership fee. So much like Massage Envy, I've done a lot of research and a lot of insight into that business, which has been very successful. They have a $75 membership fee a month. They get 1 treatment, and then every treatment that comes in is usually discounted around $50 or so. So that's our model on that aspect.
So,
Push.
you got to push on it?
Push on.
Push, yeah, I did push on it. Microphone doesn't work.
Yeah.
Okay, so, really good presentation. If I didn't know you, which I know you, right? I would think, here's another medical scam, right? Just because there are all sorts of products that purport to be cures, all that sort of deal. And you've said some good things, like it's overseas and it's used overseas and it's cleared FDA and everything. So Ken, is this a scam? Why is this not a scam?
Yeah, it's not a scam.
So it works.
Not at all. So
why do you think it works?
Well, I'll tell you. Well, I'll get. Yeah. Well, first, I implore you to come on up and experience it. And part of the reason why I named the company React Innovations was the reaction that I get when I first put this on people. How I get introduced to this, there's actually a chiropractor here in town named Dr. Phil Arnone. He's the chair for the American Chiropractic Association of North Carolina. He runs a physical therapy operation. He's a very well-respected and seasoned doctor. So when I first heard about technology, someone told me, they said, there's this chiropractor with a magnet that treats your muscles.
Right. Yeah.
And my
So
first,
it sounds like the beginning
my
of the
first,
show.
my first reaction was, okay, is it going to make me bounce? The bounce thing they had at the mall, right? And is it going to make me drive my golf ball 20 yards farther? But took Mom's advice and said, take the meeting. You never know. So I took the meeting, and just like I did with Juan, I sat down in a chair with my clothes on. And as a former athlete, I've had e-stim on me. I've had every modality you can imagine trying to fix me, in several ways. I sit down in this chair. He turns it on, and literally from my core, through my glutes, hamstring, and through my core, my abdomen was literally bouncing like this. And my reaction was, what the hell is this thing, and why has this not come on the market and has changed healthcare as we know it? And so we, as we've gotten into this, and I've invested in the company about 2 years ago. I've been involved with it for 4 years in my travels within the NFL locker rooms, within NCAA locker rooms, going and talking with leading anesthesiologists. They're all believers in this. Dr. Shaw he was not converted. I hounded him for months to get a meeting. I took a meeting, it was supposed to be 20 minutes. 2.5 hours later, he's putting this all over his body, talking about different areas that he would treat his patients for pain non-invasively and without drugs. Gave him all the literature that we've done in terms of our clinical studies. There's been over a dozen clinical studies performed on this technology, primarily revolved around incontinence. It's been cited on over 2,500 publications, so it's not a scam.
If I like, you're doing a good job selling your thing. If I were selling your thing, I would emphasize the data and the results that you have more,
Sure.
and the "it felt great on me" less.
Yeah.
Because "it felt great on me" is how they sell those little copper wristbands,
Commercial.
copper wristband
Yeah.
wear, right? But like, that's how they sell this thing.
Sure.
The other feedback I would give you, and Greg is going to say some things too, but is you're like the 4 markets that you identified are all gigantic.
Yes.
Like they're all like all of them. Any single one of them would be large enough to make a meal for a company. And saying that you're addressing all 4, like, I don't believe you, right? So like, I'm just like from my perspective, like you probably aren't, right? And having 3 ways to make money, like I think it would be It would be more compelling, I think, to an investor if you could say, look, there are lots of different ways we can make money. This is the one that we're doing right now, and we know it's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you're just not there in your evolution. Maybe you don't know which of the channels and which of the markets yet you're going to use. But that would be, because it feels like there's sort of 12 ways to make money. Feels like 0 ways to make money a lot of times. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer in not trying to eat the cake in one bite, right? And so what we've identified in part of that pitch is just saying, look, guys, there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of pathways that we can go. And I think, as we develop and roll this out, I think there's a real opportunity to bring new partners in and potentially, offshoot that part of the business.
Let other people do it, yeah.
Let other people do it. For now, it's our team. And the way we're going to get started is with this Magna Center starting in Charlotte. The goal is to roll out 10 centers in Charlotte over the next 3 years. Each center, once fully operational, generates around $300,000 to $400,000 in profit, and we're only providing under those circumstances about 8,500 treatments for the year using 4 tables. So it's a pretty compelling technology and business model, and that's really where we're starting. I agree with you. You got to kind of start somewhere and get immediate cash flow. The second piece that we're doing, though, in conjunction is the clinical studies, which you talked about the data and the evidence. You're right. Me going into Carolina's healthcare system and treating a doctor and he thinks it's great, it doesn't matter. What matters is that I have peer-reviewed publications that prove an outcome based on what we're doing. So as part of that relationship we have with the NCAA, University of South Carolina as an example, they want to be our first customer. So John Kasich, who's the associate athletic director down there, wants to be our first customer, and the athletic department has just merged underneath the medical school at USC. So we're going to sell equipment to them at a discount, and then John's going to work with me to develop a clinical outcome with their athletes to show efficacy and returns in terms of somebody who's torn an ACL, maybe that would get back quicker, someone who's got a kinked neck, someone who's got a spinal problem. We've got, the world is our oyster in terms of research. We've got to pick and choose our spots, and of course that takes capital, time, and talent.
Hey Ken, so this isn't your first time here. You've done it before. Been in front of the room at HQ Charlotte. You do a great job. I wanted to make sure I made that comment. Tell me about the technology. When was it developed? When did you get your 510K clearance?
So this all happened before I got involved. The patents were issued. It was developed by a couple of engineers out of Atlanta. So the patents are about set to expire in the next couple of years. The 510Ks, they came over in an evolution of time. Those were primarily performed and issued in the early 2000s. I'd have to get you the exact year, Greg. But it was in the early 2000s. We have, as part of our strategic roadmap, we have several new patents that we plan on filing that I'm not going to disclose here at this meeting.
Come on.
No, but we've talked. As you guys know, I'm very.
You guys wanted to disclose the patents.
Yeah.
Come on. Yes.
As you guys know, I'm very big into the intellectual property side of things, and I think that I have a high degree of confidence based on the conversations I've had with my attorney and Dr. Jordan's attorney in Germany. Some pathways that we're going to take that I think are going to generate new intellectual property that's going to be owned by React, and that'll create another 20 years or so of protection for our technology and products.
So is this, if patents are about to expire, the technology's been around for a while, 510K's been out there, talk to me about the commercial history related to this, because it feels like, why will you be successful when, I presume, it hasn't had huge commercial success today?
So I mentioned Dr. Jordan, who's trying to run a business in the United States. He's also a full-time practicing urologist in Germany. So that's issue number one.
Yeah.
And so, he's kind of conceded the fact that this is not going to go anywhere until he gets professional kind of help around him. And so that's where myself and Fred and our other partner, Gary Cabot, and other members of our team come in. The model, I think, in today's healthcare world, I think is pretty unique. We're moving away from a lot of reimbursed healthcare procedures, and people are becoming more and more involved in cash pay procedures, and that's kind of where we sit today. So I think that's part of the reason why I think we'll succeed.
How much will a session at Magna cost?
The initial opening cost is $75
Okay,
for
so
treatment.
you guys are all, I'm talking about your humans. How many of you would try it for $75? Raise your hand. Okay. Who's somebody who absolutely would not try it? Why? You. Let me say something, sir. Yeah. Cool. Do you all think this is a good idea? You think this is a good idea?
One comment
Yes, sir.
on the market, and if you started to do your due diligence, which I did,
Yeah.
there are 70 units plus installed in Australia, approved by their equivalent, their national health system for reimbursement, just focused on the incontinence market. And that gave me a great deal of comfort
Yeah.
in terms of the approving technology, and that's in a country of 30 million people. You take the U.S. market, which is what we have rights to, that's 300. So,
Yeah.
do the math. And that's just one
Seven,
market.
700, right? Right.
Yeah.
Good. That's good.
Got one other quick question. What's the equipment cost? I mean, is it a capital manufacturing that's all
Yeah.
taken care of, the scale?
So we've aligned all of our suppliers up, and that's a process into itself. I'll finish this up. So we have our suppliers are all ISO 13485 certified, which means you can make a medical device. ISO 9001 certified, which means they can put the stuff together in boxes and whatnot. We initially we're going to sell equipment in the athletic market for $50,000. So this is a Pro Edition table. So really 2 power supplies. Once we perform some clinical studies and we've got more outcomes-based evidence around this in terms of healing, that price is going to go up probably to at least $100,000, maybe more. And we also have other improvements that we want to make on the product over time as well, but obviously we don't have time to.
Do you know David Chadwick? You should talk to him.
David Chadwick.
Yeah.
I don't think I know.
Let's talk after.
Okay.
He can help you. It was good. That was really good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kent Paul.